Hello, welcome back to SwansCast podcast, and we are back in the same position we found ourselves in maybe just over 12 months ago, I believe it was. Well, it was November, wasn't it? So probably like 14 months ago or so. But it doesn't feel like that long, where we've had a manager being sacked from the club. We don't really have that. Well, we haven't had that very often historically, but I think two in a row, probably the first time in since got relegated from Premier League, since we were in that sort of situation. But yeah, Luke Williams is gone. He departed the club yesterday, so we're recording this on Tuesday, the 18th of February. So I've got Ben and Lee to join me to discuss everything about Luke Williams moving on from Swansea. Where do we go from here? We will touch on the poor showing at Stoke that kind of was the nail in the coffin, and everything else that we think might have contributed. And I guess just where the club is generally at the moment. So where do we start then? I don't really know the best place to begin this one. It's a bit of a... It's not going to be a nice one, is it?
We've had two losses since we last recorded, and you have to feel both those performances as well as the results as what's led to the sacking. So maybe best just to go through the results as normal, and then no doubt we'll talk about possible managerial replacements for half hour, knowing us.
Funny that we were quite positive after the Bristol City win in the video, I think. We thought maybe we'd get someone else. To be fair, we probably should have got at least a point against Sheffield Wednesday. Harry Darling dropped an absolute clanger twice, actually, but one of them got punished. So we could talk about that one first. Bit of a evening out under the lights, as they like to say, but yeah, a bit of a dull game, and I think we've got different opinions actually to a lot of people from what we saw on social medias around performances of some individual players in this one. So we can get into some of what we saw. The Swans ended up losing 1-0. Obviously mentioned Harry Darling dropped an absolute clanger. I don't think I've seen that much criticism of him for this mistake, to be honest, but I think it was really poor. Like, very poor.
Him at the end, let me tell you. He was first one over after the full-time whistle just to applaud the fans. The boos when Harry Darling walked over, not all the rest of the team at the full-time whistle, specifically for Darling. I was like, do we want him to sign a new deal or not? Because, like, I understand he's made a mistake, but stuff like that drives players away.
I think it's accepted now that he is going, though, isn't it? I think
his performances feels have been that way. Poor ever since he didn't want to sign the contract. I think that's fair to say at this point.
Oh yeah,
they've regressed, haven't they? I think he was like a house on fire when it looked like he was about to sign, because he was about to sign at one point.
Yeah,
probably trying to earn that, an extra salary, whatever. But since around the West Brom speculation with Luke Williams, to be honest, he's sort of gone downhill. I wouldn't be surprised if Luke Williams had a quiet word of him to say, "Follow me to West Brom in the summer." It's just it could quite possibly have happened. Like it happened with
Ryan Manning's situation.
So if that would have messed with his head as well, probably if that did happen, we're speculating, I know. But if you've got Sheffield United after him, it only makes sense for West Brom to do the same if Luke Williams was going there, didn't it? So yeah, it couldn't have helped. And no doubt, I think he'll go on to bigger and better things. Harry Darling, despite the performances, I can't lie. There'll be a bigger salary on offer. There'll be a club after him with a better chance of going up. If we may not even be in the same league as him next year. So yeah, I wouldn't be too annoyed at him for leaving either, to be honest, because we're on downward spiral at the minute. It's a good time to have your contract expiring with us, truth be told.
Yeah, if he runs his contract down, he runs it down. I don't think anyone can have any beef with that situation. But I just, for me, it's just a case of like the manager being brave, and if the performances are not there, regardless of you trying to get him to sign and all of that, then he needs to be dropped. And I guess he was in the end. But yeah, well. I just don't know. Like it was. I know he's saying there was a lot of criticism, maybe in the ground, perhaps from that area, but from what people speak about the game, I just felt that people were trying to blame other areas of the pitch and other players around that, and you can't say it's anyone else's fault. He had acres of space, he had acres of time, and he just played a pass that was just not there.
It was nowhere near
Sheffield Wednesday.
I can't fathom how annoyed I was, right? So the goal happens, and beforehand, I think Jay Fulton had received the ball from a throw-in. He had all the time in the world to turn around and play forward, right? Yeah. He should have done. No one's saying no one's saying he was right to pass back, but he did. And he's like that, Jay Fulton. He doesn't have peripheral vision, does he? He doesn't know what's around him. He doesn't look to go forward. He's safe and he goes back. He does that, goes back to Darling. That was wrong, fine. But like you say, Darling, he had a good, probably 5-6 seconds on the ball. No one even pressed him when he made.
I don't even think he was getting pressed, was he? So more than that, I would say. Yeah.
He passed it. He couldn't have passed it more to the opposition player. Goal goes in, and everybody, rather than blame Starling, everyone sat around me, starts screaming at Fulton. He didn't need to go back there. Why is he gone back? Darling wouldn't have been in that position. I'm like, all right, but he was.
As well.
All right, but he was in that position, and if you're a championship level footballer, you should never make that mistake. What happened before for me is irrelevant. We know Jay Fulton passes back. It's frustrating. Grimes wouldn't, everyone says Grimes passes back.
Grimes probably would have made the same pass, let's be honest.
No, I don't think he would have, because Grimes actually turns.
But yeah, he does. But then if he's nothing on, he'll go back. Like, that's
irrespective of that, this is what it was like. This is what it was like in the ground. We were having this debate, and there was no need to have this debate because it doesn't matter what happened before it. Darling shouldn't have made that mistake. Like,
ultimately, like, Felton didn't make an error. That whatever you think of that pass, it wasn't an error.
Yeah,
that's the bottom line. It was maybe not an ambitious or like forward-thinking pass, but it wasn't an error.
It's another example of Fulton getting blamed for everything. And it's similar. Like, Fulton gets blamed for everything in midfield also. I feel like Darling's escaped criticism. And I don't go hounding after individual players for individual errors. It happens, right? Maybe not as bad as that. That's one of the worst we've seen this season. But still, if that's Cabango, I feel like he'd get picked on more. People dig Cabango out all the time. They do. Darling seems to escape it. Franco seems to escape it. Certain players that we rate higher.
Yeah, it was the same with Franco's goal the other day, or the mistake he made the other day.
Yeah, when they make mistakes, they just don't really get pulled up on it. And I don't want to pull anyone up on it individually, but I'm just thinking it must be so hard to be people like Jay Fulton, to be people like Ronald, to be people like Ben Cabango sometimes. Because, they may make a few more errors overall, but they know about it and they get told about it. Maybe whether they do in public, whether they read up on Twitter and things, I don't know. But I know plenty of players. I think Harry Darling may even be one of them. I'm not sure. Either they just don't control their social media accounts at all. They just don't have them full stop. Because it's got to mess with your mental health. And imagine going into work every day and every single time you make a mistake, you just got everyone around you hounding you, screaming at you.
I think they are aware of what's being said. I'm pretty sure. It's just how you manage that situation. And I guess some players will manage it better than others, which is sad. It's part of modern day reality, I guess. And people will say, well, I don't have sympathy for them because they get paid enough money and all of that. But it doesn't matter how much money you get paid when it comes to your mentality or like how you're feeling and your mental health side of things. And you can go and pay for a good psychologist, but I think unless you're in that situation, you never know how you would react to it. And I think that's the point.
It makes us play worse as well. You can see the effect of the crowd is that it is having an effect on the players. It is like, you could argue, okay, Bristol City was away from home and that's the best performance we put in a while. I was there for that. Despite the fact we dug out the players a bit going into half-time. Second half, they started on the front foot. And the atmosphere was incredible, honestly. It was the best atmosphere I've been a part of in ages. You go to a home game, there's the odd chant near the start, but the second things don't start going our way, we misplace a pass, we miss a tackle, we give away a needless corner. It turns to booze and anxiety and just toxicity so quickly.
Can I just say as well, in regards to that Fulton moment we just mentioned, linked to what you're saying here, I just think you can't have two things as well. I'm not saying I agree that was the best option from him, but the fan base as a whole wanted a possession-based style of football, and that sort of decision-making is more encouraged in that sort of style of football. So then, because we want to see, because we're in a bad situation in the league table, we haven't seen many goals recently and haven't had that many good results, we'll be on their back more for keeping the ball safely when that is the style of football we've asked them to play. And essentially got the last manager sacked because he didn't. I just find the hypocrisy around all of that like crazy. And I'm not for a second saying Felton couldn't have done more, couldn't have done better or something different. But the at bare bones level, the way that we are set up to play, he would probably be told, if you were facing back to the opposition goal and you are not sure what's behind you and you can see your defence, looking at your defence, they have a better vision up the pitch, so play the easy ball. That is probably what he's been told in training. Like, I would probably put money on that. So
one thing he doesn't do, if you just like next time Jay Felton plays, if you just watch him, whereas you'll see Grimes, I know we can't watch him anymore, you'll see Franco, they'll constantly like scan over their shoulder before receiving the ball. Felton forgets to do it as much. And it's because of that, he's not aware of what's around him when he receives the ball. If he'd scanned his shoulder when he received the ball before the goal, he would have known, no, I've got 5 yards of space behind me, and he would have just turned. Even if he turned, jogged a couple of yards, and ended up playing it back. That's why people are annoyed at him. But then to blame him for the goal when he didn't even have the direct action, which led to the chance happening, I feel bad for him because it feels like he's damned if he doesn't, damned if he doesn't. Like the goal got disallowed at the end that he tapped it, and I was so happy for him, thinking, oh yeah, that'll give him a nice little boost. And then obviously it was offside. I think we haven't seen the angle. They looked a little yard.
It was very marginal, but probably was right.
And I was annoyed because that would have been 1-1, which would have been the correct scoreline for me on the predictions and put me back into first place. But I sound like you right now, don't I? I sound like you all season.
Oh well, you can have a dose of that medicine.
Yeah.
I don't know what I said in the end. What did I say?
No, I think Lee got the correct. No, actually, Lee got.
Well, he said Swans win, didn't he?
Yeah, Lee got the correct result for Stoke, and that's the only points anyone has had from the 2 games. But yeah, still talking about.
You got the correct.
You got the correct score. Yeah. Result. He went 1-0 to Stoke.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right in what you're saying there. I'm gutted about that goal too. Because I was right by that corner where they would come in to run to celebrate. The linesman was so far behind in the play. Like he put the flag up, not even as the ball hit the net. As the player was halfway to the corner flag to celebrate, he put the flag up.
I think the ref decided it. I don't think the linesman gave it. I think the ref
did put the flag up before the ref blew. Because you could see Felton running towards him, celebrating. And then as he's like halfway towards the corner flag, Lionel raises his flag and Felton just like, but put his hands over his face to sort of.
Because in the stadium, the first thing I always do when a contentious goal goes in is I look at the flag. I never get caught out by it.
Yeah.
You always have the away fans who jeer at half the stadium who celebrates. I never get caught out by it. But like you say, it was so late. I was in bed. Yeah. I was like, yes, come on.
Yeah, I know. That's what I mean. Because he was right. Literally, I was in line with the linesman. Yeah. I didn't pay enough attention to guarantee I could say if it was on or off at the time. You know what I mean? Because it was so quick, and I wasn't really expecting us to get a goal, to be honest. And I looked straight at the linesman because I was a bit like, oh, did he come from behind the defence there? But he didn't put his flag up. So I was like, oh, he must be fine. I started celebrating, and then the flag goes up. I was like, that's a bit slow. Like that's actually really quite slow. I would assume. I understand why they do it in like open play and then they let things play on where VAR is involved these days and stuff. But surely now in the Championship, there's no VAR. As soon as you see the offside, you put the flag up.
He just didn't know what to do. His last kick of the game, it was close in his eyes. He was just thinking about it. I know it sounds stupid, but you replay it in your mind when you're a linesman. You try and think back to what you just saw. And yeah, I think in the end, he got it right, to be fair to him. He took that extra second. It's easy when you've got them running towards you like that, just to think, oh, Christ, if I get this wrong now, I need to take me out of here on a stretcher with the home end. But no, you can't have a go at him. He got it right, I think. In the Premier League, he doesn't get pulled on it in the Prem. No. It is annoying, don't get me wrong, because we all thought we were going away with a point, didn't we? But there we are. Can't be helped.
Any other thoughts from this game? I saw some criticism of the substitutions, but I don't really know why. I don't disagree with the subs. The only one people were saying why Franco didn't come on, but I don't necessarily think that would have mattered, to be honest.
I just want to know what
changed the result.
I just want to know, honestly, it's the same for this game as it is the Stoke game. Like, why is Giannelli there? He's come back to fitness. He's someone who can change a game, but he's clearly not.
Well,
he's going to have to go as well, isn't he?
He was the game after. Like, he's clearly not trusted to have minutes without getting injured. So just question, like, why is he in a matchday squad then?
Lee, move it a little bit away, little bit more. Right, speak now.
How's that?
That's better. Yeah, cheers.
You can hear me now.
Yeah, sorry. Just after
Luke saving the eardrums of everyone.
Yeah.
But no.
Well, just like the Swans, my microphone's having a meltdown.
Basket case of a microphone is.
No, it is.
It's ridiculous.
Some of the subs. I know it's the Stoke game, but who was it? It was a double change, and Harry Darling and Felton came on. And it's like, well, how is that going to make a positive impact on, honest and an attacking sense? It's just not, is it? You could say Darling is because Norton can't last a game.
Well, I think both of them were the same because Ollie Cooper came off and he's just come back from injury. Then it was 76 minutes, so I would imagine that's a premeditated one. I know it's annoying because of the situation we were in, but Ollie Cooper, that was his first start since coming back. So when you think of that, probably can't. The question is, I guess maybe you say Janelli should have come on, or actually I didn't realize Pert Harris is on the bench, so
Pert Harris,
maybe
Nelly,
that's
Potnick.
Yeah, so that's the issue in it. I think Harry Darling coming on for Norton, you can't avoid that. But maybe you just don't bring Fulton on, you bring on one of the other two. Was it after they went? It was after as well, wasn't it? Just after they went 2-1 up.
Yeah, I mean, they were coasting by this point, weren't they? But yeah.
But I think if that happens when we're 1-0 up, which I think he made a point in his interview, actually, of saying... it's like several times now that I've been preparing subs and then all of a sudden the situation on a pitch has just changed. And it's like, okay, fair. But why didn't you change your subs then?
Yeah, he was doing it too late.
Well, to be fair, I think the goal equaliser came more like 3 minutes after.
Yeah.
So,
I know, but there's a lot of times where you're watching the game and you think you can see the way this is heading. Like, the game has changed on his head, like we are under the cosh or something, and there's nothing to change it until they score or we're losing.
Yeah, and just to reiterate, right, the Stoke subs I can see an issue with. I didn't see an issue with the West Brom, Sheffield Wednesday ones. I don't necessarily think we're incorrect. I think people were frustrated that Ronald got taken off. I didn't have an issue with it at the time, personally. I don't think he had an amazing game. I don't think he had the poorest game, but he did have an amazing game. So I saw a lot of people praising his crossing in the Sheffield Wednesday game, and
he
played really that one for Pert Harris, didn't he?
Yeah, it was two. Yeah. It was. I forget.
And there was one that nobody attacked that I did call out at the time. Fair enough. That is the best one he's done all night. Because I remember saying a comment to my father-in-law who I was with. I was like, it's easy to say no one's attacked that. Where are they all? But let's be honest, the last 10 he's put in have been nowhere near them. So they probably just didn't bother.
Yeah,
exactly. Which isn't the right attitude. That's not the right attitude for the guys in the box. But then when it sails over your head so many times, I understand why perhaps at that point they're like just not urgent.
He's put two really good ones into the box, which, truth be told, is probably two more than he normally does. Coupled with the two good ones, there was a good 5 bad ones as well. That can't be escaped. And I don't think it's something that's going to change overnight. I feel like he'd probably need to spend weeks and months on end doing nothing but crossing.
9 crosses, 3 of them connected.
And this is where you got to be careful with that stat, because one of the good crosses we're saying didn't connect.
It wasn't connected. Yeah, I understand that, but just saying that out there. So I don't think he was horrendous by any means. I think he was just bang average in that game, but I didn't question the fact that he got subbed.
I don't think we did enough to win in the game anyway. I don't think we necessarily deserved to lose, because Sheffield Wednesday did nothing as well. But we put a chance on the plate for them, didn't we? And then Stoke, I didn't even see it. I know Lee, you did. It felt like a crap game where we went 1-0 up, probably eased into it a bit, thinking, they'll also be like Bristol City again, and then Stoke just ran away with it for half hour.
Yeah, I think both games. I think both games is probably fair why he lost his job in the end, because they were both quite similar. I know you might have touched on this a little bit. I was late joining with my technical difficulties, but the Sheffield Wednesday game was a 0-0 game written all over it that we gifted away. But then I know it was a defensive mistake and it was poor, but then you can argue that performance was so bad that the best that we were hoping for was a draw at home against Sheffield Wednesday. I know Sheffield Wednesday are decent, but we were kind of just pleading for a 0-0. And I think that's quite a bad position to be in. And then the Stoke game was 2 poor sides. It was just 2 awful sides that we just shown that we were the worst out of the 2. When we went 1-0 up, I thought, here we go. Maybe we can just drag out another massive 3 points like we did against Bristol City. But then we just imploded again. And the defending was absolutely atrocious again for all 3 goals. So I think just the manner of losing those 2 games against teams that are probably, we'd expect to be in a similar sort of position, and the fact that we were so poor at home, and then gave that game away, and then we were dismantled at Stoke in the end. It was just we were in a really bad position here.
So it was 2 set-piece goals that made them go ahead, wasn't it? So I don't know how Alan Sheehan has been rewarded with that, with the interim manager deal, but there we go. And the 3rd goal, which was irrelevant, to be fair, but if it wasn't irrelevant, that was another defensive error, another one. So I think we were saying in the last video, we were top. I think after West. So after Sheffield Wednesday, I don't know why I keep saying West Brom. After Sheffield Wednesday, that mistake by Darren made it 10 defensive mistakes leading to goals since, was it 4th of December?
Yeah, it's mental start.
So now it's going to be 11.
Yeah.
That's the next team had 5, wasn't it? I believe.
Yeah. Hell of a finish from Lewis Baker. Can't take that
Oh,
away.
yeah, it was a great
Yeah,
finish.
and I'm not taking the finish away, but it's the same as that one the other day, the Franco one. It was a good finish, but he should never had the chance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's worrying. It feels like Grimes leaving. Not only have we lost the way we play, but it feels like a massive leader has left the dressing room at the same time. That regardless of what everyone's opinion of him is, we do look a bit lost out on the pitch in more ways than one. And it's a big responsibility for Cabango to suddenly step up, especially when he's got an error in himself as well. So
just
maybe
another
that's
poor pass, wasn't it? He's stepping up from defence and tried playing a pass that wasn't on again. So this is why I just think, I guess we'll get on to talking about the next manager soon. But I got asked. I went on to BBC Radio Wales this morning. Was it this morning I got asked this now? No, it was last night, actually. Been on a few things since this news broke. So it was on Gab Sutton's podcast thing that he does on Twitter. And he asked, is the Swansea way dead, or will we look to, bring another manager in to continue it and all this? And that's the age-old conversation, isn't it? And, answers on a postcard sort of thing, I guess. But I just said, for me, I just think the manager needs to come in and look at what he's got in front of him and play a system that works for that. What's there? What tools he's got, Maybe in time, if he manages to stay here for a decent amount of time and he's able to recruit in a couple of windows and he gets players in that are then capable of adapting to something more aligned with what we expect out of the Swansea way, fair enough. But I don't know if we got the right tools to make it work at the moment, so we need to make something else work that can just be an adaptation of it. And I think that's what we need. For
me, it's 13 games left of the season for us. I'm completely content with having, this doesn't sound like me at all, but I'm completely content to having a firefighter see us through just to stay up, because the risk is when you bring somebody in and you want to implement this new style of play, and it would be a new style of play if they try and replicate the Swansea way, because what we're looking at now is far from the Swansea way. You need more than 13 games with a dysfunctional squad in order to achieve that. And in those 13 games, you probably lose 8 or 9 of them, You possibly fall through the trapdoor. Whereas if you bring a dinosaur in, as they're often called, literally just to grind out results like we did against Bristol City, then you probably get over the line, don't you? Because you can't forget we do have an 8-point buffer on Derby in 22nd. I hate that we're comparing ourselves to teams down there, but we got to at the minute. We've got plenty for me to stay up in this team, because
yes, I agree with that.
Go back, how many games ago? 10, I think it was, and we were 4 points off the playoffs. So I know Grimes is an important player. He's probably the most important player in that team because he has been for years. But I don't buy that this team in 13 games can't get 13 points. That's what we need to basically guarantee staying up, not far off. For me, no. Get someone in just to get the basics right. Play for Potnick more often for me, because every time he's getting near the ball, he's doing something. He's the one player who's continuing to earn credit and an attacking sense for me through this every time I watch him play. Get him the ball, get bodies around him, get the basics right. You'll get 13 points in 13 games, especially because we have 4 favourable home fixtures to go against teams in and around and below us as well.
Yeah. Any comments from Stokely before we move on?
No, it was just more of the same. Like I said, I think I covered it. It was a bit frustrating that the way we folded in, conceding poor set piece goals, and then that was it. Then, obviously with the run of form and the situation we're in, as soon as we concede, we were gone. Heads were gone. You could see it. Body language is awful. I think he was gone after that.
Yeah, the comments after the match didn't really do any favors either. I don't know if any of you saw them.
I didn't. I haven't looked at his
interviews for weeks, because I know you said, was it on the last pod or in the group chat, you made a joke I swear he's trying to get sacked. I couldn't face his comments anymore, because it's a Football Manager, and there's 3 options. One that gets a mixed reaction, one gets a good reaction, and one gets a negative reaction from everyone. It's he just picks the negative one every single time.
I genuinely do think he might have been trying to get sacked. I mentioned off camera earlier that his body language is completely different from Christmas pre and before to now, or January in general or since.
Yeah.
Maybe he just wanted to get out, and he didn't get out when he had that speculation and he thought he was going to. He obviously probably doesn't want to walk away because then he don't get any money. But, and there's other rumours swirling around about discontent within the backroom team, which I don't know enough about to say any of that's fact. I'm sure a lot of people have heard, and that might be partly why Grimes left as well, by all accounts. But that's all hearsay. No one knows about any of that, if that's true. But if it is true, and I guess it lines up with what has happened, then maybe he just want to get out. And I guess
it's not been right. It's not been right for a while, is it?
He basically said the team is not good enough to play in the championship, and this group has shown that, and they don't have the mentality to be in the championship. The group of players that he's got at the moment do not have the mentality to be in the championship. Bearing in mind, and you could argue on the recent form, you'd be like, well, he's not wrong, is he? But I mean, he had the squad 4 points off of playoffs less than 2 months ago, and all they've really lost is one first-team player since then. I'm not saying that's not a massive difference, but like in terms of this bad run of form we're on now, he left halfway through it, so the form had already slumped before he left. So you can't use that as an excuse.
Well, go back to when we beat Plymouth. There was speculation. Is this team good enough to get into the top 6?
Yeah,
and he was hinting, that we need to show it in the next games now. And then we lost 3-2 to Sunderland after quite a spirited performance. Bear in mind we were winning as well. And then he dug them out and said, that's not good enough if we want to get promotion. I'm like, around that time, he was happy to talk about the possibility of us being near the playoffs or even in the playoffs. Fast forward, not even 6 weeks, and we're not good enough to even be in the division. We should be in League One. So this is where, honestly, I feel like he forgets what he says to the public and the comments.
That's the point I was going to make.
Were awful as well. That just didn't help. There was a few. I think, was it the Sunderland one? Yeah, it was the Sunderland one in particular. I think was the first time when we were all just
threw everyone under the bus.
We were like, that was so weird. And then he was always like Ben said, I think he forgot what he said because it seemed like he was always like chasing his tail then. And then the next time he kind of got in front of camera, then he was kind of like, I probably said the wrong things last time in the Sunderland game, and then he said something else, and everyone was like,
Grimes did the team talk.
Yeah, then he said I had to just leave Grimes to the team talk, and then it was like, well, hang on, you've done that. Then he had to backtrack on that, and then every press conference, then the West Brom thing came up, and every press conference he just seemed to dig a hole further and further.
But that's exactly what I was going to say. And going back to what you said, those playoff comments, he wasn't even asked about the playoffs. He came out and said that off his own back. That's where we were looking to go to. So.
And I know you've said, I think it was a month ago, maybe even less, you said he's worse than Duff in press conferences. And I was like, I don't quite know about that yet, because Duff had some one-liners which weren't match. I think when he said we shouldn't be in the league, I was like, okay, he's worse than Duff at this point.
I think Duff was consistent.
Admittedly, he's been here longer to make more howlers in his press conferences, but still, he's been so consistent in the last couple of months, isn't it? Yeah, he's been so consistently wrong in everything he said, and I haven't gone his back too much about it because I don't think it brings anything positive. I don't think I'm any better than the people who get on the players' backs and the coaches' backs in the stadium, then, especially on a public platform spreading it. But
that's fair.
It's just not. It hasn't been good he probably is worse than Duff in that sense now for me.
I think Duff was just Duff came out that way from the get-go. Do you know what I mean? So you could argue that he was bad and wrong, and we didn't like the fact that obviously there was other things that irritated the fans, like the moving down. It was a big one, and then the press conference on top of that was an issue. But that's what he was from day one. Do you know what I mean? So at least there wasn't a difference in what you're seeing. I think that's where, for me, when I said he's worse than Duff, for me, then at what point do you sort of start questioning the honesty of the manager in regards to am I seeing the right person here? The same person that we saw before, seems to be a different person all of a sudden. And I think it's hard to the longer that goes on, it's just harder to be behind that. Yeah. Because it's just a fake person standing there leading your club. I think that's what it came across in the end, to me anyway.
Yeah, I think he looked a bit almost lost in the end. Like you said, I think he was probably I think he probably accepted that he was getting sacked, and then he was just coming out. And then I think the January transfer window, and then on top of that, and some of the stuff he said in that press conference following the window, I think he was done, and you could see that. It was a bit weird because I think
kind of stuck up for Andy Coleman though.
Yeah, he stuck up for Coleman a bit, but he threw like a lot of other people under the bus, and he was probably like, "I'm fed up with the,
You should think it'd be
I'm
the other
fed
way
up with the
around, or
club."
like Russell Martin kind of did it the other way around, where he completely went at the owners, whereas I felt Luke Williams tried defending Coleman. I just thought it was a weird direction to navigate.
He did kind of stick up for him in a funny way. He kind of said like, I don't know. He kind of said he put his trust in the wrong people, didn't he? And then he said he was kind of running around in the last 2 days, and we got to have better organisation. So he kind of stuck up for him, but also in a backhanded way as well, didn't he?
He gave
Where
him
he kind of slated the structure of the club. Yeah.
He gave him an insult sandwich. He complimented him for his effort.
Yeah.
Then said he had no idea how bad things were. He was running around like a headless chicken. And then went back to, oh yeah, but there's other people who he thought was doing his job better and he wasn't. So it was like you say, backhanded way, but he just like slipped a sly comment in between a couple of not even good compliments, like they're like petty compliments more than anything. And they're like, oh, his heart's in it. All our hearts are in it, but you can't like not know what's going on in your team with a day to go before the deadline, can you?
I still think, and like no one's ever going to know if this is fact or not, that the whole West Brom speculation and uncertainty that caused around the club could have had an impact on our January window that we just won't know. Because ultimately, we only signed loan players. That says to me no one wants... Whatever deals we might have had on the agenda, players might not have wanted to commit to the club under this current circumstances. You can't say that might not have been linked to that uncertainty and the bad form that have come off the back of that. Longer you go into January with the losses, or he's been linked to this job, and ever since then, like, or some players are already there, not signing contracts now, or and they're not winning. All of a sudden, their form has died off a cliff. Do you know what I mean? Like, well, he's probably going to get sacked soon. There's a lot of talk about that.
Yeah,
it could have all had an impact on our January. We all say how bad January was.
Yeah,
and okay, we say Luke Williams wasn't backed, but he might have been the issue. 1 or 2 deals didn't happen, but we just won't know. The players might not even highlighted that as a concern when they decided not to come. But that generally could have been a reason why it was so bad. So
yeah,
I've seen some people trying to say, maybe not so much now after the last 2 performances, but we're trying to say like, let's back Williams. I don't think he's been backed in January. It's not his fault that we're in this situation. But we're only on 18th of February. How many games we had in February? 3. I don't think you can use January as an excuse for this at all. And Russell Martin used January as an excuse. I think he had more of a leg to stand on, and I've slated him for that. This absolutely you can't. The slump started on the 1st of January. That's the day the window opened, and we've won 1 game and drawn 1 game ever since. You cannot use the fact that there was a bad January window as an excuse for this form.
Because the form was happening with Grimes. That's what we got to remember. Like
we've actually earned more points after he's gone. And I'm not saying we looked better, but we earned more points since he's left. And I don't think there's any correlation to that. I just am trying to highlight that it was already bad.
Like we have looked significantly worse. Coventry for me still is the one where I couldn't believe what I was looking at. Like you got to remember after the derby, which was bad. Don't get me wrong. Sheffield United at home, we actually played well. Harry Darling red card aside, which made the game a bit weird. I think truth is we forgot that we were down the man because we were matching them. Yeah, Norwich then again we were 1-1 in that game. You know, we've actually been in quite a few of these games, which is mental. As well as Stoke, which we were 1-0 up.
It's the mentality, isn't it? It seems.
Yeah, it's the falling apart. It's just like we absolutely just completely collapse when things go wrong. Like, you know, we can be in a game, maybe, like you said, we've been in a couple of games, but as soon as it like kind of turns against us or we concede a goal and the momentum changes, we just like completely like fall apart. And I think like Williams probably had to take a bit of slack for that because he couldn't change a game. Like when the tide turned, especially in this bad run of form, when the tide turned in a game when the momentum swung, we had no answers for it, and we just fell apart.
That's what Andy Robinson called him out for, the fact that in all of these press conferences, not once he stood there and said that it was anything to do with him.
Yeah.
And he said it's time to take some accountability. Like,
again, the trend that we've seen as well, the number of times we've conceded straight off of kickoff. Like Cardiff second half started, we conceded 2. Sheffield United second half, we conceded 1. Norwich, we equalised and they went straight the other end and scored. Stoke, we scored and then they scored within 3 minutes, then put another 2 past us, the 5, 6, whatever minutes it was after. It's happened so many times. Like there is like a trend where we just can't see.
It was happening before. I think it was under Russell Martin, was it? First season?
Yeah,
we had a similar thing.
We conceded in injury time a lot with Russell Martin. That was the main one.
I'm sure there was a few. Start of the second half was bad as well. That was under someone. I can't remember who it was.
And it's sad, because Bristol City, when we won, and it was 0-0 half time, I was like, oh, there we are. The second half curse is over now. But then since then, Sheffield Wednesday, we buckled second half. Stoke City, we buckled second half. It's just
there was a stat on Sky last time we were on telly about this, and I can't remember what it was, but it was horrendous.
Oh yeah, I know it. I don't know if it's still accurate now, but we scored the lowest number of goals in the league in the second half of games, and somehow at the time, I doubt this is true now, but at the time we'd scored the second most in the league in the first half, which is a crazy stat because we was like 16th at the time. So And what do you think? There's been quite a few. Remember there was the run we went on, we didn't score a goal for 9 hours. So it just shows how often we've been showing up in the first half, even if it's from goals, not from results. And then just second half capitulate. And it's been a theme all season. I just thought maybe we finished it, but there we are.
I think that made it worse. It was weird because the Bristol City win is in there. I mean, it's going to be massive come the end of the season, those 3 points. But I think like getting that win, you think, oh, can they like turn the tide? And it gave us like a bit of a sprinkle of hope to then return straight back to the bad performances like Sheffield Wednesday and Stoke. I think made it even worse. I think it just made it hurt even more when they just went back to that performance. It just angered everybody even more.
I don't know if Sheffield Wednesday was necessarily a worst performance, was it? It was just we didn't get a goal.
But we never looked like scoring. We would have been there now and we still wouldn't have even had a shot.
I don't think we scored a disallowed goal. But what I'm saying is that we had one chance to Stoke as well. And it was a tap-in the end because of a rebound. So it's not like we created an abundance of chances.
No,
and everyone, credit to the Bristol City win, but we could have been 2-0 down. We were horrendous for the first half an hour.
Yeah.
So when I compare the performance of the Sheffield Wednesday game to Bristol City, we're kind of biased because we got a win and held on to that. And it did show grit to do that. But I don't think the actual overall game performance was too different.
No,
we just didn't get a stroke of luck.
No, I don't think I think you're right. I don't think the performance changed too much, but I think that what I meant was that's what upset everybody was that we had such a big win, and like obviously the celebrations and everyone was like, oh, that was such a big win, and all the players hitting the badge and doing the huddle by the way end, and I just thought, right, here we go. They've got to build. It was great that we actually had a game in midweek after that, because you think like, right, let's build on that momentum then, and it just went straight back to normal, and it was like, well, that was just pointless.
Well, a draw against them wouldn't have been too bad, to be fair. They were in quite a good league position when we played them. They were looking at getting into the playoffs with a win.
No, I know, but this says how far we've dropped. Is that
no? It does. Absolutely, it does. But in regards to fixing the recent momentum, I would have taken a 0-0.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I absolutely would have taken a 0-0, and it was a 0-0 game. It was just we gifted them a 1-0.
It was probably though. Considering, like, I know they're not a relegation team at the minute, Sheffield Wednesday, but they're not like one of the top four. And for me, anyone below the top four, you have to go with them at home, don't you? You're at home, you got to take it to the opposition.
Absolutely.
But they were poor.
It's the most negative, I was going to say, sorry, I've seen us approach a game probably in a while. And a Coventry, you could say that's negative. Also, we were clueless. This game, it was there for the taking. If either team stepped up and looked to take control, easy 3 points, Do
you think?
But we didn't.
Do you think Luke Williams maybe not over, but like Grimes has left and he's significantly changed what we're doing to say we can't do the same now Grimes has gone. I don't think we can do the same Grimes has gone. I think we did have to change something. But I think he went a bit too far and to the point where there's not really a direction.
There isn't a direction, no, but equally when the midfielders are receiving the ball, they're too scared to turn. Quite often they're hiding as well. They don't even want to receive it in the first place. So then it's like the back five we actually have at the minute, Ronaldo right wing back, they're sort of left to themselves then to think, right, we just got to keep circulating the ball and hope something comes for us. Like, it's concerning because I don't even think they know what the plan is, truth be told. You say, like, he's changed the approach too much. I still don't know what the approach is. I'm really not sure the players.
But it looks like they're still trying to keep the ball to me, but then they just there's no penetration with it anymore.
Well, there's no passing patterns, is there? Norton's probably the only one who actually picks it up, and it's just from pure experience that he knows when to try and thread a ball.
Yeah.
I just feel like who's going to make the change to adjust to not having Grimes. It needed to be a little bit more direct than what we've seen.
Yeah, I think I don't know. We might come on to it a little bit, like where we go from here, but I still think even more now, in particular now that Grimes is left, I just don't think we have the players to play like that type of football.
No, I don't
And
either.
like Ben said, I think like someone's got to come in and just make us hard to beat till the end of the season, because I can't see us with the current squad that we've got. I just can't see us doing much, to be honest.
We need a Steve Cooper to come in again. I know Ben hates that, but that's literally what we need at the moment.
Oh no, I said earlier, I think we need an interim, not a permanent manager. I think we need an interim until the end of the season. Lee said it best: make us hard to beat. We need to point the game, and even thing is, point the game is probably more than enough. That would take us to 50. We'd said this last pod. We're probably looking at the table now. Derby, Plymouth, Luton are on 29, 28, and 27 respectively. Chances are 40. What would you say? 6, 7 probably does it.
Yeah.
We're on 37. So yeah, and like I said, just some of the fixtures we've got left, just to rattle off. I know you can't take a like face value because Sheffield Wednesday and Stoke on paper are winnable games, and we lost them both. But games that we have got left: Watford away. Okay, Watford are better at home. That's not the easiest. But then Derby at home, Plymouth at home, Hull at home, Oxford at home. All at home, And I know like they're ones that can hurt you as well, because if you lose them, like 6 pointers.
But they need to. They need to win, don't they? Those, like, look at Plymouth. Was it like 5-1? They won against Millwall the other day.
Yeah. What was the stat? They scored more goals in a game than we scored in like 12 or something.
So I think
and then they went and lost to Blackburn, who just lost their manager. It's odd, and it's weird.
They're big games. But I think it is worrying me a little bit, because they are do or die. If we lose those games, like if we lose to, Derby, Hull, and Plymouth at home, then they're going to be above us, and that means we're in trouble.
I do think I've probably obviously we don't know who's going to be next, if it's Alan Sheehan or whatever, but going into those games with Luke Williams, I would have felt no worse than what I feel like now. So I don't think it was a bad thing having a gamble at trying someone else with new ideas.
No, I think the question that we kind of will ask each other is, was it the right decision to sack him? And I think probably yes. I think just because purely, if we even just take the West Brom thing out of it, even if that hadn't happened, that run of form we've been on, what is it, like 1 win in 12
1 win
or whatever
in 9.
it is, 1 win in 9, whatever it is. But it's like, I just think that run of form was so bad, and you could just see like the level of performance, like we said, they were just falling apart, and the body language of the players and everything. I think, unfortunately, the only thing you can change to stop the rot is change the manager. That's the only thing you can do. And I think we were heading for disaster, to be honest, because it didn't look like it was turning around anytime soon. So I think,
and he also didn't look like he knew how to turn it around, and it didn't sound like he knew how to turn it around either, or had confidence that he could. So as soon as the manager starts sounding out that way, I think it was
the right time, because I think we couldn't have waited another 2 or 3 games to lose another game 3-4-1, lose another game 5-0, and then do it. I think, Ben, I think you said it on the group after the Stoke game. I think you said if they're going to do it, it has to be now, or they got to back him to the end of the season, because they need someone to come in now and have a little bit of time just to save us, I think.
Yeah. From the ownership point of view, though, the trend has been there for a while, in it. Not saying they would have 100% knew, all right, we're going to need to sack him, let's spend some time looking for people. But it's been signs that it was heading that way. That's been evident by the performances. So to sack him, be back to square one from like 14 months ago, whatever it was, having Alan Sheehan in charge again. Doesn't seem like it's going to be like an announcement next week or the week after. It feels like Alan Sheehan's probably here for 3 or 4 games minimum. That's the way it reads.
I think so.
So then by the time someone does come in, you've got like 8 games. So if they're a permanent long-term appointment, there's no benefit to him coming in with 8 games left or 9 games left,
Yeah.
So what's the thinking? My honest prediction, right? We got tough games coming up now. Probably, just rattle them off: Blackburn at home, both managerless. That could go anyway. Preston away, Borough at home, Watford away, Burnley at home, Leeds away. They're our next. How many is that? 6.
That's
1, 2,
stinking.
3, 4, 5. It's not a nice 6 games. But Alan Sheehan, when he was here last time round, I think there was a couple of surprise results in there. Wasn't it? He probably got more points than our performances warranted. But if you
I got it here if you want it. He had 1.57 points per game.
Yeah. My point is, if you nick a point against Borough, or you go away and you beat Watford unexpectedly, or you nick a point against Burnley, all of a sudden then you can come to the end of that 6-game run and you've got a favourable last stretch of, 7 games or whatever, maybe more. And all of a sudden they're going to be like, oh, well, he's pulled us off the relegation zone for a little bit now. We want to make a long-term appointment. There's no one available right now. We'll just give it to him for the end of the season. For me, that's the most likely way this goes. Our performances pick up a little bit now. We grind out a good result, a shock result, one of those games I've just said. All of a sudden, there'll be teams who do well near the bottom. There'll be teams who don't. So we may have what's the buffer now? 8 points. Let's say in 4 games' time, we have 10-point buffer, 11 points. Be like, oh, okay, give him some time now.
Yeah.
And then you'll just be here till the summer. I honestly can't see us appointing anyone permanently. I don't know who would come to us right now.
No, I wouldn't come to us right now, which I'll come on to. But I think I've seen a lot of hate for Alan Sheehan on.
It's linked to what I was mentioning earlier, and I don't want to talk too much detail about it on here because I don't know the facts. So I want to make this clear. I do not know the facts. I don't think any of us do. But there's stuff out there that he himself and Margiston weren't getting on with Luke Williams and Luke Williams' team. And this is for a while. A lot of the issue in regards to how... Do you know if you look at Luke Williams and our corners and why we saw Notts County playing a more short.
Yeah.
Well, you don't really see that all the time. That sort of difference. So there's a bit of a difference in how they both want to play the game, which is what a lot of fans believe has conflicted why we don't play as well in this way as we could. So by all accounts, Luke Williams doesn't want to work with him, but he has to be here because Andy Coleman loves him. Sheehan, this is now. And I think a lot of the reason why Williams probably wanted out was because of this relationship. That's why he was desperate to go to West Brom. The other factor of it, and again, this is all hearsay, I don't know.
No.
As apparently Grimes fell out with Sheehan and Margiston, and that's why he left.
I can't,
and that's why on his way out he defended Luke Williams. I don't know this. It's not my opinion.
No, I know.
It's just what I went looking into it because I was asking the same questions as you, and that seems to be what But a lot of fans seem to be convinced by all of this. So I don't know where it came out or where it came from originally, because there is that feeling that Sheehan is doing a bit of damage behind the scenes. So there's a massive thing that apparently he is like Coleman's man. Like Coleman proper loves him.
I struggle to believe that. I know you're just a messenger reporting like what you've heard, but so this is not like directed at you, but I just cannot believe that a set piece coach has that much power in the club. In that case, then we are in the worst position.
I think part of the Luton connections, the whole Paul Watson situation, and he's kind of a byproduct of all of that, isn't he?
Yeah, but he can't surely, if the set piece coach is causing that much problems, like behind the scenes, where you've got your head coach and your club captain of 10 years that he outlasts them. Like we've got more problems than I thought.
I think that's the argument, though, I think people think maybe Coleman's been a bit naive behind the scenes and allowing that sort of stuff to go on.
Yeah, but surely if Williams and Grimes, who are the head coach and the club captain, are saying, look, this guy's causing problems, then he would have been gone, surely.
That's what you think. I don't know if it's true. I know. I heard about it a few months ago, not in that much detail, that there was something there. And I don't know, more just keeps getting spoken about. And then it does kind of link into everything that's happened in the last 2 months. So then I guess that's why it looks a bit more viable. It does add up, do you know what I mean? We've said ourselves on here, something weird's gone on for Grimes to leave in the way that it happened.
But Sheehan was there
I don't know the detail though
before
behind
Williams when Grimes was there.
Yeah, and so was Coleman.
It's like we say, we'd love to be a fly on the wall, but right now we're just completely speculating.
Yeah, we'll never know.
I've seen what you're saying hearsay though. It seems to be on Twitter the same group of popular Twitter
I've
accounts.
seen it on Facebook as well. That's why.
Yeah.
And again, it's all social media stuff. It could be a load of nonsense, but
it's the same group of accounts all the time, isn't it? Who clearly have like the same person or people that they know in the club, and it gets out.
Yeah. But I mean, other stuff that has come out like this in the past, like generally, is not
hasn't been far off, is it?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Stuff seems to get out that seems to be legit. Like the whole Harry Darling contract situation, we all seem to believe that is legit. Yeah, that he was going to sign and then he didn't. It's the same sort of place it's coming from.
But no, I'm not saying you're wrong. But like, let's say that is the case. That basically Sheehan is the almighty power then that lives within the club.
I don't know if it's that. I don't know. The way I see it is a case of perhaps, and I think we spoke before about Coleman and the fact that he's not a football person, but his head's in the right place. But sometimes, his heart's in the right place, but sometimes the head's not always there. And it might just be a bit of that where he's a bit naive to it. Maybe like since he's been here, I think in terms of when Sheehan came in, it's probably quite similar time frames at the club. Maybe they got a good connection, and the way I saw it described was like Sheehan's kind of in the shadow of Coleman, like in his ear. Do you know what I mean? So sometimes when you're involved in that sort of situation and you don't realize the negativity that's coming from it, it's hard to then be made aware of that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If you're fully convinced like nothing's wrong, and then you get Luke Williams like, he's causing me issues, and he's like, no, he's doing his job. Like, do you know what I mean? Like he just might. And Luke Williams haven't got the best stock at the moment to go in there and start throwing his weight around with the backroom team. So
no, well, if that's
but if you look at Luke Williams' reaction to Grimes leaving as well, it wasn't like. Do you know what I mean? I feel like it does add up with the story a little bit because he kind of was like, don't blame him.
Yeah, again, like if that is the case, well, I was already worried about the state of the club, then that
worries me more than anything.
That worries me more.
This is happening. Yeah,
that really, really worries me because I think, and we were going to say earlier, but I think we are. You know, Ben said like we only need like a couple of points to kind of be safe, but I think we're really in trouble.
And obviously I tried defending Grimes last week for the way that happened, and we mentioned the whole like 3 players when he said goodbye to him. But if they all don't know what happened there and he's gone because of this situation, maybe he doesn't want to tarnish any relationships at the club or like go to the players and say all of this, and he's just gone, and then they're all frustrated with him for leaving the way that he did without actually knowing the stuff behind it. It adds up. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of strings to it. I don't know if it's fully true, and I want to make that clear, but I can understand why you can get stuck in that rabbit hole. I think when stuff's in a negative spiral as well, it's easy to look for something like that to leech onto. What I will say is, while Sheehan is in charge, I am going to back him, and I hope that he can do the same as what he did last time. Because as much as I hated watching the football that he was playing at the time, I don't think it was nice to watch at all. He did a job that he needed to do at that time, which was what we needed at that time. And I just said his points per game were like 1.5 something. So you can't question that. And if he can perform that sort of result now, in about 5 games' time, 6 games' time, we might be having a completely different conversation. So whether he can or not, I don't know. It depends if you think we're in a worse situation now than when Duff got sacked, I guess. But what I can tell you in terms of their points per game is Luke Williams has left on a 1.17 and Michael Duff left on a 1.14. So like I said, Alan Sheehan in between was 1.57.
It is a small sample size. That's the one thing.
It is.
It's like 7 games, isn't it?
7 games, yeah. But when it's on the back of the poor form, Russell Martin had a 1.35. Steve Cooper had 1.61. And Graham Potter had 1.45, sorry.
Yeah. Well, those are some good managers who just listed off there. Do you want me to, if you share my screen, do you want to have a little laugh at the ones that we're actually linked with now?
I saw Ryan Mason pop up just now because I've got this open as well before we put the video. That wasn't there this morning. He was nowhere near there.
I can honestly say,
flurry of bets probably.
The odds are catered to like your caretaker and interim managers completing at least 10 competitive games will be deemed the permanent managers. So for me, the most likely one, especially on this list, is Sheehan. Yeah. Des Buckingham's currently the favourite, but it's come out it's not going to be him.
As I thought they were interested in him, I saw earlier.
he's got admirers at Swansea, but it's not happening. And by admirers at Swansea, you've got to keep in mind there's about 40 people near the top at Swansea.
Yeah.
That's an exaggeration. But if 4 of them like him, he's got admirers at Swansea, you know what I mean? Rob Edwards, who stock couldn't be much lower at the minute after, he nearly kept a soccer team up to the Premier League, nearly kept them up, and then he's got them bottom of, I know he's been sacked, but he's
I know what you're saying from the outside,
now.
right? But all I would say is for anyone
Jack
that
Wilshere.
thinks Rob Edwards, go and watch my preview videos with the Luton guys, because they absolutely hate him. They think he's...
That's why I said his stock couldn't be much lower.
No, they like him. They think he's a really lovely person, but they
Great.
do not think he is he's fit to manage a football club. And from what they were, because I questioned this, I was like, yeah, but he took you up. Luton in Prem's crazy. Like, surely that's like, do you know what I mean? But they basically were like, he done it off the back of what was set up before him. And the longer he has been there, the more he's unraveled it, and the more you see what he can do, and the worse it gets, essentially.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Lee, as you said, Jack Wilshere, 16-1 mine, so it's not happening. But I found that funny. He's like, hold on, no one lock. How old is he? Go on, guess. How old is Jack Wilshere?
Steven Gerrard's climbing up as well. My uncle messaged me
He's 33.
last night.
Is he?
Lee, move your mic away again. Sorry, I know I keep asking. I don't know why it's so sensitive today. Just leave it there, like below the mouth. It seems to be okay then.
Yeah, it does. It just moves as I get more animated. But
yeah, 33. He's an assistant manager at Norwich. He's only been there since October. But yeah,
I did not know he was there.
Yeah, what were you saying? Sorry, Luke. Jack Wilshere. You were saying Steven Gerrard.
Is he 33?
33. Jack Wilshere.
Same age as me.
That's crazy. My uncle messaged me last night saying it's going to be Steven Gerrard, and he wasn't even on the betting at that point. I was like, I don't know, would he come to us? He was like, I had a dream like 4 weeks ago, like that he left us to come, and his old rivalry with Frank Lampard and all this. And I was like,
Liverpool fan, is he?
I mean, no, he's Swans fan, but he's just appeared on the betting now. Yeah. He wasn't not even on the list.
Do you know what makes this, obvious he's not coming though? Russell Martin, who we have publicly sued, is 10-1. He's got better odds.
Yeah, he's slowly slipping down. He was favourite when he opened.
Honestly, if you look at this entire list, go right down to the bottom.
Gary Monk. They were so lazy, isn't he? Like Michael Duff was on there yesterday.
He still is, isn't he? Oh no, Damien Duff's there. But no, like Ian Everett, just out of a job at Bolton in League One. He's on there. Eric Ramsey, who's been linked with him before. Danny Roll, who's our club better than us, so style play more suited to him. John Terry, Steve Cooper's on there. Sean Dyche, as if he's gonna.
I would take him, to be fair.
Oh, would you? I would as well. He's not coming here though.
Yeah, there's absolutely no chance of that happening.
Why is Neil Harris on there? I have no idea.
Ex-Cardiff manager, like.
We look at these though, like. Again, this is going to be really negative, but why would you take his job?
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of people on
takes his job if they can progress. That's the only reason.
Yeah,
so you're only here for short term anyway, because
it's the wrong time to take the job though, because there's more to lose as a Swansea manager now than there is to gain. You come in as a potential young promising manager. You're not going to take us near a playoff battle. You're not going to get us playing a good style of play. You don't have the players to do it. There is more chance of you ruining your future career by taking what's perceived to be a good League One.
But that's why I think like Luke Williams came from League Two, so it was worth it for him when he came. Similar sort of situation, and the other sort of managers that I think are ones that have just come off the back of a bad spell, and maybe it's like last chance to show they've got something. So if they can save the day, the stock rises a bit than when it's already just fallen potentially. Or like a manager that thinks there's no other chance of getting a championship job. Do you know what I mean? That sort of person, which isn't exciting, I guess, for a Swansea fan to hear, because you probably left with the scraps at that point. So,
but
I think a lot of people.
For me, this list, right? There's maybe about 5 on here who I'd want. I don't want any of them permanently, to be clear. I don't want us to hire a permanent manager right now. I just literally want some of the 13 games. All the ones that I'd want, they're not going to come here on an interim basis, and they wouldn't want to come here anyway. Some of the names near the top, I'm sorry, like Russell Martin's near the top. For me, if we do actually get someone permanently, it's not going to be someone on this list. It's going to be someone completely random who isn't even considered to be a possibility right now, and that's because we haven't done our due diligence. We don't have anyone lined up, so we're just scrambling right now. And we were like,
where's that Boateng? Is he on there?
Boateng's not even on there, no. And not Jerome. I thought it was Jerome. They were on about George Boateng, who I'd never heard of.
Yeah. Oh, George Boateng's a beast.
What was you saying, Lee, just now? Sorry.
I can't remember. I was just saying. I was just agreeing with what Ben was saying that I don't think anybody's going to want to come in here. I think they're going to kind of look and probably leave it to Sheehan and see where we are in a couple of months, if not the summer, before anyone comes anywhere near us. So I think it's kind of like over to Sheehan to kind of save us for a bit now. Which is
there'll be some of them looking for a job.
There'll be takers, but like Ben said, because they've maybe not have been planning for this, then now they've kind of got to put a shortlist together, and then by the time you do that, and then see who's actually interested and see if there's any viable candidates, and then you got, like you said, you've probably 3-4 games down the line.
Well, you never know. Maybe
by which time we'll know where we are.
Maybe that's what he was doing in January instead of signing players.
Well, we did take ages. Remember, from when we sacked Duff to when we appointed Williams, that was quite a long time, wasn't it?
It was a good, like...
Well, it was 7 games, yeah.
7 games, yeah.
But I don't think there were many midweeks in there. I don't think they were. It wasn't Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday. It were in like 3 weeks.
Well, it was all a Christmas period.
It felt like ages, though.
It was a while. Well, it was from November to January, so it was like, 2 months.
It was end of November to like 2nd of Jan, wasn't it?
Was it 2nd of Jan?
It was just before the FA Cup weekend, wasn't it? But
it felt like an eternity.
Yeah, it was a while.
I got it in front of me. I don't know why I'm speculating you. It was December the 4th to January the 5th.
I guess it wasn't actually that long. It's just because there were so many games in a short time. It probably felt like...
Yeah. It says Alan Sheehan was in charge for 31 days.
Like when you think 7 games. It's like, what, 10% of a season is like 4.5 games. So it's like 15%-ish.
In a month.
Season, an interim manager.
Yeah.
Anyway.
A lot of people want Gary O'Neill. What do you think about him?
I think, yeah, he'd be good in the short term. Talented manager above our, pay grade, definitely. Premier League experience. But again, he's not going to come here on an interim basis. And do I think it's a long... Alan Tate? No.
Yeah, but he probably would, though, wouldn't he? He probably would.
I know he'd... I bloody bet Alan Tate would come here. Why wouldn't he? But I'm not saying he's the right option.
No, I don't know if he's the right person. I just mean in terms of someone who would take the job, that's all.
What's the... I don't understand as well I guess people probably know more than me, but what's the kind of love for Ryan Mason? Because
he's up and coming and exciting.
I know he had that kind of interim thing with Spurs, didn't he? I think he was in charge for a little bit.
He's there now, isn't he?
He is assistant manager, so yeah.
We just love trying to nick Spurs coaches. We tried it twice with Chris Davis, who's now at Birmingham, and he turned us down twice.
But look how well Spurs are doing at the minute.
That's a good point.
Yeah, but to be fair to them, I think they're getting unfairly criticised. They've got no players.
Oh mate, this is up to your Harry Kane opinion. This is
no, they're not far from the relegation zone.
Yeah, I don't care if they've got 14 injuries. This club of Spurs size should
not be
15th in the league or whatever.
Yeah, they should not be down there with the injuries they've got.
Fair enough. I'm not saying it should be down there, but I just think Man United are worse, that's all.
Have you seen Bournemouth's injury record? They had 11 fit players for one game recently, and they're still up in 5th. 1 point off City. Same points as Chelsea.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I don't really care about Tottenham. I don't watch it.
No, I was just wondering, to be honest, about Ryan Mason. I've seen a lot of people kind of call for him and say that would be great, but I'm a bit well, I don't know. That's not... Seems like a bit of risk to me, but...
They have one back.
But they're all a risk. They're all a risk.
Make it look so bad.
I don't want to be too negative, but I think I don't know. I don't think it matters who comes in. To be honest, I think.
You think we're going down, don't you?
I've been saying it for a while. I think if we don't go down this year, it'll be next year. I think we're just the way we're trending at the minute, and I think.
Yeah,
Again, we spoke about Luke Williams. We spoke about Luke Williams, and yeah, he made mistakes, and he rightly got sacked. But I think he's just another piece of this roller coaster that's just going on a massive drop. I just think
what we need in the summer, realistically, is some exciting appointment. Probably someone from abroad at this point. You genuinely need new ideas, and by different from abroad, I mean a different way of thinking in terms of how you approach your football philosophy. maybe international like ties as well. Who knows? Like a reason if you got somebody, Brazil, Spain, something like that, a reason for players of that ilk to want to come to us, depending on what the visa rules are.
I agree. We need something massive to turn this kind of form around, and I don't mean like just the form that we've got at the minute, like in January in terms of results. This has been happening since like Potter left. This not maybe not Potter because Cooper was good. So I say since Cooper left,
Russell Martin,
we've been on a massive downturn. But I think like I know I don't like to like kind of slate out like our players and that, like always support them, but I think our squad is awful. We've come on, Luke, since we started doing the videos, and after every transfer window, I always said that in terms of like quality in the squad, we're always at a net loss. And I was looking at it earlier,
and
I was thinking, no, we are though. But if you look like generally, and this feels like to me, and again, it's going to sound really negative, but this really feels like to me when we got relegated in the Premiership, where we were at a high, and then all of a sudden it was like, right, okay, we lost a couple of good players, then we replaced them, and they were decent, but they were not as good as what left before, and then it just kept going and going and going, and then we were sacking managers until eventually we had a squad that was not good enough to stay up, and I just think we're going in the same direction. Because I looked at like the squads that we had when we came down, we had like McBurney, 22, 23 goals in the season. Brilliant. He left with Dan James and whoever else left at the time. Then you kind of had Ayew that came in that replaced those goals. And I think between like him and Lowe, I think they had like 17 and 15 each, something like that. So we had plenty of goals there. Then when they left, we were like, okay, we were lucky because we had someone like Perot that came in who was just like a steal of the century for like whatever 1 million, 2 million we paid for him. And then he scored like 20 and 23. And now you've got when Perot left with like Incham, who had like 8 goals, I think. So between them two, they had 30 goals. We've not replaced them. Like now, I look like I haven't got it in front of me now, but when I looked at it earlier, coming into this season, no player on our team has scored more than 10 goals in a season apart from Vipotnik once. Nobody in the squad has scored 10 goals in a season. So I just think like
Cullen's on 9 now. So
Cullen's on 9 now, which is his best ever.
Yeah.
I think Vipotnik scored 20 once for like Maribor, I think it was.
Yeah.
But apart from that, no one has scored 10 goals in a season. So I just don't know what we're going to get out of this squad. And people, like, this is a bit of a long rant now, but like people say like, oh, Russell Martin, but he had Perot. So even when we went on a downturn of form like this, like Luke Williams went on, we didn't have a 20-goal striker that could dig you out of a hole.
And he had Obafemi, keep in mind.
Yeah, well, he had Obafemi, we had Downs, we had all these players.
Well. Yeah.
But it's not just about the managers. Like I'm saying, our squad quality has just gone down.
Yeah, it's a fair point.
I don't fundamentally disagree with the overall point, but I do think last summer was fine. I think it stopped last summer for me. Like I was happy with last summer. So was everyone on this podcast. And
can't believe
what was last summer?
Mind.
No, we didn't lose anyone, did we? Really?
Well, the summer just gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think like on paper it was good because we signed like some exciting young players. But then if you look at like what we've lost over the last like 2 years.
Yeah, I'm just on about what we lost last summer. It's what we gained last summer.
Yeah,
I know. But for me, the line. Yeah, for me, the line in the sand though was the transition between like the Martin and Duff season was when we lost like Perot, Obafemi, Patterson had gone, and Cham had gone, Manning had gone, all them creative players, and then like we replaced them with like Yates and Kuharovic.
Yeah,
and then that was like okay, they didn't really do anything, and then I think then we probably came up a little bit from that in terms of what we signed, but then from where we were like 2 years ago, I don't like to pick out players, but it's just it's atrocious.
I agree with you until last summer when I don't think that continues, and I don't think it's fair to say that's continued this season until January. Like you're right in what you're saying fundamentally, but we had done better last summer to rectify a lot of what you're saying there. And we can only get assets by developing them. So we go start from somewhere again. So like the players, everyone raves about Franco and everyone's saying Vigaro's had a good season. So you can't say last summer was a failure. We just didn't get all of the positions that we needed sorted. But realistically, we're never going to do that all in one window. That's accumulation of the failings of the previous windows combined. What I'm trying to say is, we were 4 points off the playoffs at Christmas, and now we're massively off the playoffs and in a relegation battle in the space of a month and a half. I can't put that down to the last 6-7 years of transfers being shit. Sorry for my language, but that is fundamentally the manager on this occasion. On this occasion, it's easy to say Luke Williams this, Luke Williams that, he's just another pawn in this platform. He had us in that position until he decided he didn't want to do it anymore.
No,
that's ultimately what's happened here.
No, I agree. I agree that Luke Williams made mistakes, and I think, like I said, I think he was rightly sacked. But it's not totally him. I don't think we got a squad that can compete. And I think what helped us in a way, what's massively helped us, is in the last 3 seasons in particular, maybe 4, is that middle pack is so tight that it kind of like masks the problem, because like you said, now
in the same boat in the league. That's why.
No, but like you said, like we're 4 points off. We're 4 points off playoffs before Christmas. Yeah, but like we said earlier, prior to that, we hadn't scored in 9 hours, and then we won a couple of games, and we were 4 points off playoffs.
Yeah, but
so
we didn't lose those games, did we? We didn't lose all of those games. We were competitive. We were competing in the league.
Yeah, but we can't say that squad was good enough to be 4 points off the playoffs, because now,
I'm not saying we're a playoff team. I'm saying your trajectory argument of us consistently going down. What I'm saying is, I agree with you, we were, but I think last summer was a bit of a flat point. I don't agree that this season has continued that.
We're worse off now than we've ever been.
I think, all right. I think what we're forgetting, Lee, what you've said is that we're getting worse every single window. What Luke is saying is that last summer we improved. My counterpoint on top of all of that is the summer under Duff is probably the worst summer we've had.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I agree with that.
Because of that, one summer was never going to be enough to
no, and it isn't.
But what we're forgetting is the players we signed, some of them, Kuharevich being one in particular, Yates another one. The signings we made in the summer before, we were loaning out. On top of that, I think we had 5 or 6 loans, which all ended at once. The volume of players leaving was monumental. The players we signed, we had what was it? I mean, I'm just looking at the players we've signed now. Waddell hasn't got here yet. So Bianchini, Franco, Vipotnik, I'm not even counting McLaughlin, Abby, who's now gone, and Pert Harris. That was the summer. So we had 6 come in. In terms of players leaving, I feel like it was a lot more than 6 if you combine the loans that expired, plus the people we loaned out who we signed the summer before, plus the players who left on a free. Plaheta,
but half of those you just considered as the worst ever incomings ever. You've still lost
a squad, and we've been left with a threadbare squad for the first half of the season.
And again, I think my point is getting completely missed in this conversation, because you're saying about it not making us competitive and how we've been damaged and all of this, right? And I'm not discrediting any of that, but that squad had played half of a season and they hadn't lost a game by more than 1 goal. They went through that spell of performances where they didn't score in 9 hours and they didn't lose every game. Then they were competitive. He was doing a good job. They were fundamentally a mid-table team, and if we'd finished mid-table this season, that would have been a good season for us. We could have continued to develop. The reason that has not happened is because the managers had a shambles. Like, for whatever, you can look at the bigger picture in the board and blame that for certain things, but not for this. I don't think, personally. I agree with you. The trajectory is there, but I absolutely feel we hit a little bit of a plateau, and they started doing the right things to try and build a platform to build on. We hadn't gone up. I'm not saying we were going up, but the platform was stabilizing to a position where we could start building. And the reason that's fallen apart again is Luke Williams.
But it's the cycle of our managers. Like, he came in and he was actually doing, I would say he was actually doing a good job, because we were competitive, and like, you know, there was a couple of games there where, like, Burnley away, for example, we were unlucky, and Sheffield United away, and Leeds at home, we were really competitive, and we actually looked decent. Sunderland at home, all the top teams we kind of looked competitive against, and we kind of had a couple of good results, and we were just outside the playoffs and all that. And then the wheels did fall off. I know he did make mistakes, like obviously with the West Brom links.
This is why I think it's a choice, because it's the way that was handled. That is what's derailed the season. And you can look at all the other factors around the wider picture of the club within that, but he was controlling all of that and performing. The reason he stopped performing was because his eyes got turned to another direction, and then all of a sudden the wheels fell off. That has had a massive impact, and
no, I agree.
I don't think it's fair to sort of say. I think, again, Coleman's got issues. Grimes leaving in January. I will agree with your argument. That's a massive. That's bad. We're not replacing that. That's like, say we plateaued last summer, then yeah, now I would say we've gone down again. But as I said earlier, I believe this whole slump started before Grimes. So we'll have that conversation in the summer when we finish the season to see how much of an effect that's had, yeah. But in regards to this year, if I'm taking the sample up to January the 1st, right, I wholly believe we had hit the point where we were able to rebuild the platform. And at the time, I was more than happy to back Luke Williams to be the guy to do it. And I think he was doing a good job of doing that. And the signs were there that his style of football was starting to work. He was starting to get everyone on board. He was starting to click. The momentum was starting to build. And that fell off a cliff. So that's why I agree with your argument up to last summer. I just don't think it's fair to say it for this season. Because now we're in a negative area. I just think that we've fallen into that trap again of saying, like, all of this bad. And it might get back to there now. I think enough's happened that we might get back onto that track. But I put the entire blame of us maybe going back onto that track on him. Like, I just think it's all on him. That if he didn't,
there's no way.
If that West Brom speculation didn't happen, we could still be 10th right now, and then I don't think that argument's valid. So,
no, I don't put it all on Williams. There's no way, because I don't think that squad is good enough. There's no.
It was good enough. It was good enough for the first half of the season. That's it. That's fact.
Yeah, but I agree. Yeah, but this is why our managers get like links with other clubs like West Brom, is because they're overdoing their station. Like, we need managers to come in and perform miracles for us to be competitive. So he's come in and he's done really well. Like, and again, it's been masked because you go 9 hours without scoring a goal, and then
Ben's just sitting there watching.
But then all of a sudden you're 4 points from the playoffs. That says to me, like, the league is poor quality anyway.
The league is poor quality. It is. You're right. That's exactly why your argument's flawed, because everyone is in this situation. So we're just putting more stock into this than you real. Everyone. There's many teams struggling in this league, and we're just one of them. We're one of that number, and maybe we're struggling a bit more than others. But we watched that Sheffield Wednesday game the other day. They are in that situation I'm describing, being just outside the playoffs, and they did not deserve to win that game. They didn't create any chances, and they were awful. We did enough to lose it, right? It was our fault we lost that game. But that's a team that's doing well. They did not look like a team that deserves to be doing well. But that's the league. We've got to compete in the league what's in front of you. That's why Leeds are walking away with the league, because they've got the money to go and do that. And that's where we are at the moment.
Because they've got the quality that can dig you out of trouble. And I just think, like, what I'm saying is that we haven't got... What I'm saying is we haven't got the quality that can dig us out of a problem.
No, because Leeds can come along and buy your best player.
Yeah, I know. So we have, like I said, the squad that we've got is just it's not good enough.
But what I'm saying is 20 other teams are in the same situation. That's
no,
why.
But what I'm saying is ours is just trending down. We're worse than we were. Like I said, when I looked at the stats earlier, and I wish I had them in front of me, this is the worst team that we've had coming into a season in terms of, like, goal scoring.
Yeah, it is. I agree with you.
So I think we are in a worse position.
We haven't got a goal scorer, and we didn't have a goal scorer last year either.
Yeah, I know. So we're trending down, aren't we?
So I'm talking about last summer being a plateau. So there was an issue last year, still an issue now. So that didn't get worse. Cullen is on course to be scoring more goals this season than anyone scored last year.
9.
Yeah, it's not. I'm not saying it's a massive plus, but that's a fact.
Yeah,
if he scores 10,
it was 9 last year when it was.
If he scores 10, he's beaten last year, so he's better.
Yeah, it was one player.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that's not a problem, but it didn't get worse in the summer, so we didn't go down.
I understand both of your points, right? All I'd say is, yes, I can understand how you say we didn't get worse in the summer, because some of our best signings, or some of our best players came in the summer. Viguru's player of the year, he came in the summer. Franco's probably our biggest asset in terms of saleability. He came in the summer. Equally, I understand what Lee's saying, because Lee, especially when we were on the run of not scoring a goal, he called out our attackers as being League One quality. That was, before we went on this downward spiral. So, like, the opinion from Lee has been consistent throughout the season. Equally, Luke, I understand what you're saying. I see you getting frustrated with it as well.
Like, I was saying that he was crap from day one this season. I was on Luke Williams' tactics from day one. Do you know what I mean? Like, I haven't not criticised them. And I don't even disagree with what Lee's saying. I just think it's a bigger picture here. Like the championship generally has trended downwards with us while we've been here, so we're not out of sync with that. And what I'm saying is, this season we are in 17th now. We should not be in 17th now based on the quality of squad. I don't think Luke Williams was performing miracles. I think he was doing the job in line with where the team is, and that's based on my knowledge for where the rest of the teams in this league are. I think you'd be surprised how poor a lot of these teams are. There's a lot of them don't have past the first 11, same issue with what we have. A lot of people see the headlines of what they're spending in January, but there's so many teams that have got poor squads in this division at the moment. And I'm not the most knowledgeable on every other team in the league, but I can tell you now, it's not as good as what people think in these other squads. It is not. We're not that out of sync in terms of the quality we've got within our team. The only thing we're missing in one or two key areas, like striker who can score goals, but I'm sure there's several other teams that are also in that category. Like, what's Cardiff's top goal scorer, out of curiosity?
Probably Callum Robinson. I imagine it's more than 9, but I'd have to double check.
Yeah, I agree with what you say, and I totally agree. Like the rest of the championship is no better off than us. But what I'm saying is, you can't say that like we're doing well if we win a couple of games and we're close to the playoffs.
Well, that's how you judge the season. I don't see how you can't say that. I think we were doing well until Christmas.
Just one thing I'd like to point out: we're 17th in the league on actual points on XG. We're 18th. So when you say we shouldn't be where we are, I understand.
Now we should.
Be the reason for, but
now we should. But what I mean is but again, as what I've said before, it's a season of two halves. Literally, you can put this season 24 and 25. And you could argue it's two completely different teams based on the way they're playing and the form and the results and the XG they'll get in them games and all of the stats that back that up. Like the fact that we didn't lose a game by more than one goal in the entire 2024 part of the season. Do you know what I mean? That's where the team was, and where it is now is night and day different. And that is solely because of the manager. That's nothing to do with any of the historic transfer decisions. That's nothing to do with that.
No, but it's not. I'm not saying it's purely historic transfer. I'm just saying the squad that we've got now.
I'm talking about now, which is why we've got to where we are now.
But if you look, what I'm saying is, we'll go around in circles all night. But I think what I'm saying is the squad that we've got now is worse than what we've had. So I think we're we're sort of saying this. We're sort of saying the same thing, but in different ways. Like I agree with you that Williams was poor, and the downturn in form was 100% to do with him. I'm not saying he's totally off the hook.
That's all. It's frustrating me that I don't think Williams is getting the criticism he should be getting because people move into the board.
I totally agree. But what I'm saying is just where we'll move on, how we're going to move forward. I just think that I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong, and the summer that we just had has plateaued it, but I don't see it. I just don't think that our squad is getting better, and whether it's Williams or not, we need a manager to come in and work kind of wonders and play find a kind of be a tactical genius or do something brilliant to try and get us to perform, which I think Williams kind of did to a certain extent before Christmas, but then when he made his mistakes, and he did, and it was his fault when the wheels came off and we weren't performing. But now we kind of need a manager to come in again and really perform above his station. If we don't find a manager that's kind of good enough and has all these fresh ideas, the squad is not good enough to help us survive like it would have been previously. Yeah. So if we have a manager come in now that's okay, maybe they've done well in the past and they come in and they've got really fresh ideas. Unless they're on it and they've got really good ideas and they tactically and they can turn a game around, I think we're going to be in trouble because the squad's not good enough. That's kind of what I mean, is that I just don't think this squad is good enough to compete unless you have a really clever manager.
I don't know. I think
I think I agree with you, Williams. Yeah, it was poor. It was a poor run of form. I don't think no team should go on the run of form that we were in, no matter what the squad is.
I just don't think the squad's as bad as what you're saying. That's all. I don't think it's.
That's fair.
It's worse. I
think that's where we differ.
Yeah, it's worse.
Because I think the squad is awful. Like I said, like Ben said earlier, I've been banging drum all season. I think, especially in attack.
I think there's areas that's really poor. But the squad as a whole, I don't think it's fair to say is not good enough to compete. I agree with your statement that it's worse than the previous manager's squads. I agree with that 100%. and that's trajected downwards. But I think the competition has gone in line with that and the money that's been spent in the league. And I think we've had that conversation before as well. But I'm like, if I look at the lineup now against Stoke or the lineup against Sheffield Wednesday, do I look at the other team and think that squad's better? No, I don't.
I do look back at that Russell Martin squad and wonder how we didn't get playoffs now, mind. What a lot of them have gone on to. I know the keeper situation wasn't great. I know our wing back situation wasn't great at times. Some of the players we've rattled off that have gotten.
Yeah.
I feel like if you had that exact team now in this league, which has probably gotten worse, I think you just fly, wouldn't you, with the right manager?
This is what, this is the point me and Luke were making at the time when I know like Russell Martin gets a lot of love was because when you have Perot, Obafemi and Cham, Patterson, Manning, he had a great squad.
Patterson's just signed for Coventry. How old is he now? He's still
Jack Wilshere.
He's still picking him up in that sort of position. They're sitting 7th in the league and they've just signed him.
That's just like a home.
Yeah, but even if it's just to bulk your squad out and have an option, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm saying he's still got enough to offer something for that part of the table.
It's debatable when Charlotte aren't keeping him, but there we are. I said it's debatable he's got enough when Charlotte and the MLS aren't keeping him.
I could have just been not enjoying America. I don't know. You don't know, do you? But
he got to play against Messi, so that's a reason to stay there.
It was worth it for him, I'd imagine, wasn't it? Just he got the experience. Yeah. But yeah, no, I agree with you with that. It's the worst squad in regards to what all of the managers have had. I just think it's consistent in terms of what you're against. That's all. These are having a bit of a crazy time at the moment. They're only 2 points ahead of Sheffield United, but them two have got to be going up, I think, at this point.
Yeah, I think it averages out over season as well. I know every team kind of has ups and downs and they over season, but I think when you get to kind of this time of the season, the quality of your squad shows, doesn't it? It kind of averages out because everyone goes on a dip of form, and it's just a worry for me. I think our highs are not as high as they were, and our lows are getting lower each year. So it's just a bit of a concern for me, and I'm only kind of digging in on the squad because I'm worried about it.
I think I'd be more in line with your thinking if I think what happened in the last month or two is a bit of a freak situation that you don't see something like that very often. And I think it's just hard to see through that in terms of how much would have happened anyway and how much wouldn't have happened anyway.
Yeah,
I think that's the difficulty.
I'm looking ahead, because I've as I've said, I don't really like the squad as it is at the minute in terms of quality. If I'm looking ahead, Darling's gone, O'Brien's on loan. I'm
worried about the summer.
Yeah, and then I think who else have we got? Norton and Allen that magically might have another year, but they're not going to be as good again.
Del Crowell will go back, so we'll have one centre back.
Del Crowell go back.
It is a bit of a problem in the summer.
Again, got Jerry Yates and Kuharevich coming back. All guys, it's fine.
But yeah, I was really shocked when I looked at the stats of the players that we've got though, with the terms of their best goal scoring seasons, that it was only Vopotnik that had scored over 10 in one season. Actually, Janelli had scored 12 once for Hearts. But
can we really
count him? Yeah, that's what I mean. Can you?
Who else is there? So there's Vopotnik. I mean, Bianchini's a winger, and they got
Bianchini's best scoring season was 2.
So he's already matched that.
Yeah, I think Am's best goal scoring season was 7. Yeah.
But then from them positions, you can't. He hasn't scored a goal for us, of course. But
no, what I mean is just not enough goals across the squad.
We know we didn't have a striker though, and I think if you've got a 20-goal striker and the rest of the team's scoring the way they are, you're probably happy with it. But it's because
exactly. But that's what I mean. Since we lost, that's what I mean. That line was the Duff season.
Yeah, we never replaced when we lost players that lost.
And Cham, Manning and Perot, as soon as they went, I think that was
I do agree with that. That summer, the Duff summer was a massive. It's weird though, isn't it? Because I think you mentioned this before though. When we had that summer, I remember we were on your say everyone thought it was a good window, but then it just wasn't.
Yeah, I think they always look. Sometimes they look good on paper, don't they? And then when you see the players have 10, 15 games, you're like, oh yeah, I don't know, I'm not sure.
I take pride in saying that when he joined. Not necessarily the players, because he didn't know a lot about a lot of them. I was happy about Jerry Yates and Timon, I remember that. But the first thing I said when he joined was there's a bit of a shift in style. I didn't slate him because I didn't want to slate someone. Yeah, I didn't slate him because I didn't want to slate someone who hadn't even had a chance yet. But I was not even secretly, I'm pretty sure I said I was just like strange. Proceed with caution and not getting like overly hyped about it. And it was a mess, and it still is a mess. And now we're still hurting from that summer because we've got players coming back now that we've loaned out. They're coming back who probably on decent wages. Doubt we'll be able to get a fee for. Maybe Jerry Yates will get a fee for.
Yeah,
it'll be like, just
I don't even
think
Jerry Yates should be a write-off, though. To be honest, he just needs to be in the right system. He showed glimpses of him being good, decent. Like, he didn't have to be the first choice striker, but he's not like, if we're going to play it, I don't know what we're going to play now, but he suits a high. I think he could have worked well in this season's system because he's full of energy and pressing.
I think it turned so quickly from, and everyone hated him to the point where he won't want to even.
No, he probably doesn't want to be here anymore. What did he score? Like 8 or 9 goals?
Yeah, he's got 7 goals, 3 assists for a bad Derby team this season. I think he's on paper he's doing fine,
he's had some injuries as well. But I just mean for us now, I think like 7 of his 8 goals or whatever it was came before Christmas.
Yeah, they were under Duff. I think he scored like 1 goal under Luke Williams.
So like that's on target to be like 16 or 17 goal season, and you can't argue with that. If he did get there, obviously Duff got sacked and it just fell off a cliff for him a little bit. But I just like that probably wasn't the worst one of the bunch, is what I'm saying, I guess.
Yeah, I think he'll probably come back in the summer and we'll sell him for just under $1 million, would be my guess. He's got a year in his deal, I think, when he comes back.
Yeah, he'll probably go to Derby if they can afford him, I'd imagine. Depends if they stay up.
Which at the moment they're not on course to, but there we are. Anyway, we could probably speculate the summer all you want. I was going to say score predictions, unless...
yeah, you can pull that up, it's fine.
Yeah. Right, I mean, unbelievably, nobody predicted Sheffield Wednesday to win. I know we just come off the back of Bristol, but Swansea City was talking about... Yeah, we all got a bit excited. I went 1-1, as I mentioned earlier, and I feel very hard done by. I can't lie to you both. But there we are. It was 1-0 to Sheffield Wednesday, so none of us get any points off the back of that. And then Lee, not to dig you out too much, it's a rare occasion. You're the only one to score points. You predicted Stoke to win, only 1-0, and we lost 3-1. Mine, but a point.
Comeback's on.
Yeah, the comeback's on. So
comeback is on big time.
That leaves Lee in last on 25, myself in second on 36, and Luke in first on 37 points. So same order again. Lee, what do you say? 2 predictions, Blackburn and Preston, because Preston's the midweek on the Tuesday after.
I thought they rearranged it, didn't they? The Preston game.
Did they?
It was the
cup game postponed because of FA Cup.
Oh,
yeah, it's FA Cup.
They're
week.
still in there, aren't they? I don't know they go.
Yeah, they are still in.
Oh, right. I saw Tuesday. I thought it was a Tuesday after. It's not. So yeah, just Blackburn. Okay. Blackburn home.
So we've only got 1 game in the next week, have we?
Yeah.
Yeah. I will go.
I don't even know what to say to this.
I'm going to go 3-0 Blackburn.
3-0 to Blackburn.
Are both teams not got a manager yet?
Pretty sure Blackburn. I'm going to look this up a second.
They were after that Boateng, same as us.
Yeah, I'm looking who have they got an interim charge.
I say same as us. I don't know if we were. Someone just chucked in an article.
I'm just looking up who do Blackburn have in interim charge. Youth coach David Lowe will be in charge of the match against West Brom, as well. I presume is still there.
What's the form been since he's been
They
there?
beat Plymouth 2-0, who had just beaten Liverpool. Just saying.
Yeah, but it's still Plymouth, though, and they haven't had a good season.
Yeah, I know.
So they lost to QPR after Eustace went, was it?
Yeah, Derby lost 4-0, didn't they, in Eustace's first game?
No,
Blackburn have beat West Brom and then beat Plymouth, so they've actually had good form.
I mean, all I'm saying, right, is this guy, he's been assistant manager at Blackburn since 2017, the entire time. So...
Give him the job.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, this isn't just some... I think so, anyway. It says appointed February 23rd, 2017, and then it says...
Maybe he's worked his way up.
Yeah. It doesn't say at the end of his time as assistant
manager. Maybe he was the set piece coach and he got everybody out. He just got everybody out and took over.
But the thing, I was set. Speaking of Sheehan getting his job now, have we scored a goal from a set piece in like forever?
Yeah, I think so.
We can't defend them.
Yeah, I swear we scored one fairly recently.
I can't remember. Is it Darling against
We're
Hull?
not very
Darling
high on
had-
this.
He scored a good header against Hull, Darling did.
Yeah, but that was a set piece, wasn't it? I mean, Cullen scored a free kick against Sunderland. That's a set piece.
Do you count them?
Is it, or is it not a set piece?
You can't credit a free kick direct goal to the set piece coach.
I didn't say I gave credit to the set piece because you asked me when's the last time we scored a set piece.
What I'm saying is, like, as he's not exactly been flying in his role, as he, in terms of delivering us strong set pieces, whether that's attacking or defending.
Right. So anyway, it's on me. Yeah, I'm back in Blackburn. I can't lie to you. It's going to be probably a crap 1-0 if anything. But
I just got to go different. Just because you both said Blackburn win, I'm going to go 1-1.
1-1.
Take it. I would take it all day.
There we are then.
Because then, even if they just draw, I'll gain. It's just mind games at this stage of the season now.
Tactics.
Keep in mind they're up. Keep in mind, only Eustace has left, but they're up in the playoff battle. Blackburn are still.
Yeah, I just think new manager bounce and all that. I'm hoping, not thinking.
New manager bounce.
They're on a party tonight, aren't they?
It'd be interesting. It'd be interesting to see what. Just be interesting to see what side he picks and what system he plays.
He played 5 at the back when he was here last time, wasn't
he? Yeah, it was Sam Parker who is fit, so we could see him. He was the one who one of them who introduced him, wasn't he? Yeah. And he had Blassie up front, so that's where we were back then.
I don't think Parker will play because he started for the youth team.
Is that before or after Williams got sacked?
Yesterday, was it?
Oh, if it was
I think the under 21s were playing as he got sacked, as the news were coming out.
Yeah.
Anyway, him and Choa on started.
Oh, the Choa on resurgence.
Maybe he'll start.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to discuss before we close it?
No, I'm thoroughly depressed and ready for bed now. Thanks, lads.
Yeah, you probably.
Yeah, sorry, I kind of went a bit nuclear on the negativity there, but it might be good. It might be good.
You might be right, innit? I just we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, thanks for anyone watching still at this point. If you didn't switch off when we had an argument, Ben wanted to smash the screen in. I think
I was laughing.
They still go in Doesn't happen very often, to be fair. But yeah, let us know who you agree with in the comments. I'm sure I'll probably be Lee, to be honest, just because I think that it's negative at the moment, isn't it? So everyone's feeling bad about the situation. But it'd be interesting to see what people's opinions are on the situation as a whole. Where do you think we should go from here in terms of management? Yeah, I think Ben might be right, but at the same time, if you hire someone just for the end of the season and do a good job, you just got another question then, haven't you?
And well, on that note,
it's like Guidelin all over again.
Yeah.
But yeah, we shall catch you in the next one. So goodbye from all of us, and yeah, see you
bit.
hopefully in a more positive one. But who knows?
See you soon.
In a bit.